Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to make some pumpkin custard baos. Now these don't actually contain any pumpkin in them because, quite frankly, we're lying to ourselves if we think pumpkin tastes good in desserts, but they look cute and that's good enough for me. There's already a kick-ass recipe on how to make these custard baos and I'll link it in the description box below, but I'll show you the modifications to the ingredients that I use as well as the methods to shape the bao. Alright, let's get to it. So the first thing you want to do is to mix all your ingredients for the custard together in a pot. I recommend doing this the night before to give it enough time to cool before you use it in the final bao. Okay, so I've added in all the ingredients that the recipe said to whisk together first. But where I'm going to deviate a bit is I'm going to add a bit more flavoring into it. I'm going to be adding some vanilla, obviously. We can use vanilla paste like this, or you can just use vanilla extract, or if you want to be really bougie, use fresh vanilla pods. I'm going to be using some pandan extract. This is a really common ingredient in Southeast Asian cooking. It's, I think, our version of vanilla. It doesn't have a really distinctive flavor. It's more about the scent that it gives. So it's used a lot in desserts, pastries, but it's also used to scent rice. I'm just gonna add maybe add like half a teaspoon in there first. If you find that it's not strong enough, you can always add more later. Vanilla, say add maybe a teaspoon. And now we're going to whisk it all together. Okay, so the recipe tells you to use instant milk powder, but I'm going to use coconut powder instead. Firstly, because it's the only thing that I have on hand. I couldn't find any milk powder anywhere. And also I think it helps give it a bit more flavor. When I did this the first time, I realized the combination of the pandan and the coconut powder, I made kaya, which if you're not familiar with, it's kind of like a Southeast Asian like coconut jam. It's a bit like dulce de leche, but we use coconut milk, pandan, and it's like basically our version of a custard. So yeah, I'm gonna use this instead to make my, I guess, custard. I'm going to add some yellow food coloring just to make the color a bit more vibrant because it's Halloween. We're making pumpkin baos. I want it to really look like it's the flesh of the pumpkin. Let me squeeze it out, so keep whisking. Also, I wanted to take the opportunity during this extremely riveting time-lapse of me stirring custard to apologize for the horrible lighting in this video. The reason is I had to wake up super early to film this, and quite frankly, the lighting in my kitchen sucks. The joys of living in a north-facing apartment in England. Once your custard is ready, leave it to cool to room temperature before popping it in the fridge, and then we can move on to making our bao dough. So, to get the orange color of the bao dough, you're going to mix the food coloring into the actual milk itself. I think this is the best way to ensure that the color is even and not patchy. Now for this part, I think gel food coloring is the way to go. Anything else just doesn't give you that same vibrancy and saturation that you want. There can be a lot of variation between the strengths of different brands, so experiment to get the exact shade of pumpkin orange that you want. Once you've found the perfect shade of pumpkin blood, it's time to mix all your dry ingredients for the dough. Now, if I was a smart person, I would have told you to make the batch of green dough separately, but that is clearly not the case here. So what I did instead was to take a small portion of the dough I already prepared and just mixed it with blue and yellow gel food coloring. Now this might take a while and a lot of food coloring to achieve, but if you line up a favorite trash TV show to watch while you're doing this,
I'm not your bitch.
time will fly by, and in the end you will have a nice green dough to use as the stems and leaves for your pumpkin bao. After leaving your dough to rest for a bit, portion them out into 12 evenly sized balls. Then roll them out into nice thin circles and then scoop a teaspoonful of custard onto each circle. And then what you want to do is to gently take the edges of the dough and pinch them together to make sure that it's properly sealed up so the custard doesn't leak out when you steam it. It's a little bit hard to explain how to do it, so in this case, do as I do, not as I say. Give it a very gentle roll to smoothen out the seams, and then give it a little squeeze to let it know that it's loved. And then just repeat the process with the rest of your dough until you have perfectly shaped balls ready to be made into pumpkins. Onwards to shaping the bao. So for this part you'll need some twine, some baking paper, and some olive oil. Cut out a length of the twine. I used about 16 inches per bao. And then coat each length of string with some olive oil. I use this handy spray olive oil that I have, but if you don't have it, pour it out into a bowl and then just soak the string in olive oil. This is to ensure that it doesn't stick to the skin of the bao. Then, taking your string and your bao, tie it very gently around the bao. You want to make it a bit loose to allow for when the dough rises in the oven and when it steams, but also you want to make sure that it's tight enough that it doesn't completely fall off. Repeat this process between 3 to 4 times until you get that ridged pumpkin shape all across the bao. So once you've tied your first knot, turn the pumpkin bao upside down and then repeat it again on the other side, going under and then tying another knot. If this is still confusing to you, I am so sorry. I'm really bad at explaining it in a narration. But again, do as I do, not as I say. You are done. Phew, we made it through. Great. So now what you want to do is to pop the baos into an oven set at 50 degrees Celsius to leave it to prove. Once you do that, get your steamer ready. I have a bamboo steamer and a wok that I use. If you don't have a bamboo steamer, just use a plate and cover with tin foil so water doesn't drip onto the bao during the steaming process. Take your baos, put them in a steamer with plenty of space between them so they don't touch while they are steaming. Say a prayer and then leave it to steam. Oh shit! Oh my dear lord. Right. Once your baos are steamed, take it out of the steamer and then immediately cut the string off. You want to do this straight away because it minimizes the risk of the string sticking to the skin and peeling it off. Be very gentle in this process. Once you do that, you should have some very cute pumpkin baos. And we're going to cut away to the finished product now. I'm just gonna just show you. This is literally the last bao that's just come out of the steamer. And I think this is the prettiest one I've done so far. I think that looks pretty pumpkin-y, pretty spoopy pumpkin. Now, usually I would have a reaction video to people eating it, but it was just me and my boyfriend, and to be honest, it went pretty quickly, which I think is a testament to how good they tasted. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you do make these baos, let me know, tag me on Instagram or leave me a comment below, and I'll see you guys next time.